here's the thing. I don't remember what the hell happened. I don't even remember what episode this is. We're at episode 5 here of Survivor. There wasn't really anything I was looking forward to per se, other than the backlash with Sifu. I also know that it's episode 5, so episode 7, 8 is probably merge. My dad mentioned at one point that he was watching the season and, well, there wasn't really anything special about the cast, you know what I mean? That it's more of a boring cast. Well, he didn't say boring, but there wasn't anything memorable about them, you know what I mean? And I guess looking back on these last couple of episodes, I mean, my favorite is currently the most animated one, which is Sifu, right? So, yeah, in a way, I guess I kind of agree with him. We'll see if something interesting happens. It doesn't help the cast too much when both Hannah and the other guy who quit, when they just left the show. But, like, that's the proof right there. It's like, I don't remember the name of the last guy who quit. I think it's Sean. Anyway, we'll see what happens this episode. The first thing I'm looking forward to is the Sifu backlash. We'll see if it's any good. Okay, first commercial break has happened. I don't really have much to say because at this point it just feels like filler. You know what I mean? Like, the Sifu blow up didn't really happen too much. It was just him kind of like trying to slowly figure it out. The whole Tai Chi learning how to fight thing was kind of funny. But nothing stellar happened out of that. It just solidified the 3 against Sifu. And he's not really doing well to, like, stop them from doing that, you know what I mean? Because he's not even really trying to guilt trip them or anything like that. He's just, like, saying, oh, so you want to play like that? Okay, let's play like that. Which is just encouraging them. I guess I'm still rooting for him because right now he's my favorite. Like I said, he's the most animated one there. Everyone else is kind of boring to me. They're just game players, which is like, yeah, it's fun to see game players, but there's no substance to them yet. That's what's basically going on in the Red Tribe. On the new Yellow Tribe, Caleb is basically the best player on that tribe so far. Jake passing out twice. For some reason, I feel like there's going to be a third time. I don't know. We'll see what happens. The whole thing with, like, Katura looking for an idol. You know, I want to say at one point, I think people are going to catch on to how Caleb has, like, his roots deep into the ground and, like, he's not going anywhere for a long time soon. I want to say people catch on to that. But, I mean, I figured on, like, the last season, 44, where it was, like, those 3 purples, that someone would eventually vote them out after they saw what they were doing. And they ended up being the last 3. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with Caleb. At this point, he's, like, one of the better players. And, like, you know me, I root for underdogs. But I also don't want to see him go because, I mean, he's just doing so well. But yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen there. It all depends on what Caleb wants to do. Anyone else on that tribe doesn't really matter to me too much. Not even Bruce, which is saying something. As for the Blue Tribe, it was basically the same thing that was, like, discussed on the last episode, so no new information or anything like that. Like, I figured it was always going to be a war between the old red, the old blue, and then Emily's in the middle, and nothing was added to that. It was just basically them repeating over and over again. This isn't really feeling like a strong episode so far. We'll see if it improves as time goes on. On to the second commercial break, and it still feels like a filler episode. I mean, there wasn't anything interesting happening on the Blue Tribe. There wasn't really anything interesting happening on the Yellow Tribe. I mean, with the Yellow Tribe, it was just the same thing of Katura hates Bruce over and over and over again, and then continues to show off how good of a game player Caleb is. So basically everything that's happened in the past 4 episodes or so. So far, the only interesting thing about this episode is the Red Tribe and, like, the Sifu backlash. Despite the fact that he's not handling the backlash in terms of gameplay well at all. There's also, like, I don't want to say bad gameplay, but it's definitely, like, haphazard gameplay when it comes to D. You know what I mean? First, she came up with the idea to continue to vote for Sifu, even though it felt like a surefire vote for Sean, and then she still continued to try and vote out Sifu. Terrible move. And then she, like, says, hey, if Sifu does have an idol, then why don't we just avoid the fight altogether and blindside Jay? You know, that one makes sense to me. But also at the same time, it's like, are you trying to goat yourself? Because I mean, this is how it happens. You vote like that, and then suddenly no one wants to work with you because they realize you're cutthroat like that. I mean, I guess I can also understand the gameplay. Like, it is one way to vote out somebody and not have to deal with the idol whatsoever. But the problem is you're doing it to one of your allies, and if you believe what you say when you say she has no other big alliances except for us, then you're just hurting yourself. In essence, even if Sifu did actually have an idol, you're only really helping him when you really think about it, because I mean, one, he's great physically, so I mean, the odds of you losing the next challenge unless you throw it are, you know, they're pretty low. And if you throw that challenge, everyone's going to find out about it. Everyone always finds out if you throw a challenge. There's only been like one successful throw of a challenge in the entire history of Survivor. And then people are going to realize how much of a cutthroat you are. They're definitely going to either vote you out or goat you, and you will not win in the end. So, I mean, I'm not sure how to feel about Dee's gameplay. It's very cutthroat, but the social awareness, I don't know if is there yet. What really hurts is that she's doing this and Sifu doesn't actually have an idol. So it's a sacrifice that really doesn't need to be made. Of course, she has no way of knowing that, but so far she's not really starting off on the wrong foot. We'll see if it changes. Anyway, it's time for the challenge. I don't know what challenge it is. Maybe it'll brighten up the episode. Okay, a couple things to note here before this next tribal council that's about to happen. So first of all, when it came to the journey and the idea between picking food and then picking the advantages, I was with Austin, but not for the same reasons. It's not because I think sustenance would be better. Usually an advantage is better. But that was one of the weirdest and most confusing and dumbest advantages I've ever seen in my life, when it's better to just get rid of it and not have to deal with it late game, and you could just eat. You know what I'm saying? I still don't really even understand the advantages too much, because I mean, the whole idea is they all have to be used in unison, right? All of those players are from different tribes. There's probably no shot that they're just going to work together. So literally all three of them signed their own death warrants. You know what I mean? They just willingly did that. And what makes it weirder is just the way the advantages work. Like, all three have to be played at the same time. And then, like, if all three of them get played together, it's a double vote. If two of them get used together, it's a vote steal. And then if there's just one left in the game, it's an idol. First off, who's gonna want to use a double vote in a situation like that? When, if you're just gonna be flip-flopping between your own alliances like that, you wouldn't even need a double vote. The vote steal, maybe I can understand, because at that point, who knows what the game is set. And it's like, maybe you need a vote steal, and you two can work together like that. The one that makes the most sense is the idol. It's the most simplest one, and also the most powerful one. You know what I'm saying? They basically agreed to do that, and now they're going to be the main targets going into it. It's not even Austin who's the main target. It's going to be absolutely Jay, and then the other girl. You know what I mean? It confused me to no end. As for the tribe that's going to tribal council, I don't remember, but it's the one with Emily. You got Drew and Austin on one side, Emily in the middle, and then Brendo and Kendra on the other side. And you know, in a way, it's kind of sloppy gameplay from both of them, but much less in terms of Drew and Austin. You got Brendo, who's lying and then not owning up to the lie, which just makes him look shady as crap and is just going to get him voted out. You know what I mean? You got Austin telling a lie, which should have been a very clear lie. He was talking about how it was majority rules and that the other two wanted to do a really sweat competition in order to get an advantage. But who would want to do sweat in that kind of scenario when one is one of the skinniest girls on the beach and the other one is like, well, she's all right. But it doesn't make sense to that they would do that to each other. You know what I'm saying? No one wants to put anyone through torture, especially if you're afraid that you're not gonna be able to pull your own weight or something like that. and it's a sweat competition, that should have been like a fishy, and that should have popped off some Emily alarms right there to let him know that he was clearly lying. And he did eventually own up to the lie, which is way better than what Brendo did. Brendo just making up another lie. But it's like that also should have been a clue for Emily that they can't be trusted either. So then I'm not really sure how I feel about Emily, because in this scenario, it's like I expected Emily to thrive in this environment. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't good in like the calm nature of the game because she was ready for like the chaotic nature. And now that the chaotic nature is happening, it's like she's caving under the pressure. It's like, I don't know, it feels like the show is just dramatizing it for no reason. Like, it shouldn't be that hard to just pick a side, especially after the way Austin was proven to lie. You know what I mean? I don't know. Both of them kind of had some sloppy gameplay, but in the end of the day, both Drew and Austin came out looking the better for it, which is probably why at this tribal council, Brendo's going to be the one that gets voted out. I mean, if Emily wants security, he's the one that's at least owned up to, hey, look, I did lie. Whereas, like, Brendo, well, he hasn't been caught yet, is certainly the shadiest looking person on that beach right now, which is saying something considering Drew's on that beach. So, yeah. I don't know. This is a weird episode so far. Not my favorite, but anyway, that's my prediction. I predict it's going to be Brendo that goes home. We'll see if I'm right. Okay, tribal council's done. My assumption was correct. Brendo went home. Which is ultimately the theme when it came to this episode for me. The fact that I was able to kind of accurately guess some of the things that were happening, or the fact that the stuff that they were mentioning in this show was stuff I already heard, kind of leads to a boring episode, unfortunately. Good news is next episode is going to be the merge, so it'll be a little chaotic, so it'll be fun to watch. I hope. Something I want to mention is that this was one of my bigger worries when it came to the increase to hour-long episodes. You know, at one point it did, when I was watching the New Zealand version of Survivor, those lasted an hour long, and they felt like they dragged as time went on. This was why, you know what I mean? So hopefully it doesn't continue to look like this, you know, and hopefully it doesn't keep repeating the same stuff for an extra 15 minutes every episode, which is why I'm thankful the merge is going to happen. So yippee for that. Anyway, that was episode 5. Merge coming next. How many players are left in the game? I don't know. Either way, we'll find out what happens then. I'll see you guys next time. Later.